Need more? Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome, council, members of the public, Roger 65, and those watching us on YouTube. Welcome to New Tecumseh's council meeting. And on behalf of council, it's been over 2 long years since we have sat in these council chambers together. Welcome, and tonight we're back as a council. We're very excited to be here. So I want to welcome all of council, staff, and everybody watching at home. We're certainly moving forward as we get through the pandemic. So council, could you please rise and join us in singing about Canada? And Councillor McClellan, you could lead us off, please. Thank you. Thank you, council. Can you please remain standing for a moment of silent reflection, please? Thank you, council. Please be seated. Thank you, council. I have a land acknowledgement statement I'd like to read. We want to acknowledge that we are on lands traditionally occupied by Indigenous peoples. They continue to care for this land. They continue to shape the town of New Tecumseh, and we want to show our respect. Hundreds of years after the first treaties were signed, they are still relevant today. Mayor Milne will not be in attendance tonight. He's at another conference on behalf of the municipality, and he sends his regrets. Council, do we have any awards and recognitions? Councillor Lacey.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to let everybody know that starting off our eventful after COVID events, we have CRIC coming up in the next coming weeks. So if you haven't yet, get out and get your CRIC ticket. They're available online or within Tottenham at the Legion or at the Home Hardware.
Thank you, Councillor Lacey. Appreciate that. It's always a great event. Everybody looks forward to it all years long. Is there any other awards or recognitions? Councillor Jebb.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I would also like to recognize the Queen's official birthday was last week, and I'm sure we all wish her a very happy birthday and many more to come.
Thank you, Councillor Jebb, and we certainly do. Are there any other awards and recognitions? Okay, thank you. I'm going to move on to confirmation of agenda. I'll look to the clerk to identify any items to add or delete to the agenda, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. There are no items to add or delete at this time.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So I have a motion be resolved that the agenda for the council meeting held on April 25th, 2022 be confirmed as circulated. Can I ask that Councillor Sainsbury and Councillor Reedy move in second? Thank you. Any questions or comments? I'm not seeing any. All those in favor? And those opposed, it carries. Passed. Thank you. Disclosures of pecuniary interest. Council, if you have any disclosures of pecuniary interest, please declare them now, and the reason why. If you come across them later in the meeting, please feel free to interrupt and disclose them at that time. So Councillor McClellan, please.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I am calling a conflict on R1, the litigation report, as I work for a lawyer who's involved in some of those. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McClellan. Are there any other pecuniary interests? Okay, thank you. Moving on to adoption of council minutes. I have a motion be resolved that the minutes of the council meeting dated April 4th, 2022 be adopted as circulated. I'd ask that Councillor Noy and Councillor McClellan, would you move in second, please? Yes, thank you. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Thank you very much, Council. Moving on to determination of items requiring separate discussion. I'll look to the clerk now to identify items for separate discussion and the reason thereof, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. There are several items for separate discussion. The first is D-1, Dufferin County Multicultural Foundation, reintroduction of the Dufferin County Multicultural Foundation. There's a deputation and a presentation. D-2, AAA performance, re-electric vehicles and EV charging station. There's a deputation. R-1 litigation status report 2021. There's been a pecuniary interest declared. And lastly, CS1 verbal report of the CAO, re-Collingwood to Alliston pipeline and supply of water update. There's a verbal report. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. I'll now look to council to identify items for separate discussion. And I'm not seeing any items by council to identify for separate discussion. So I'd look once back more to the clerk to summarize all items identified for separate discussion, please, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. I believe Councillor McClellan has her card up.
Yeah, I just saw that, so thank you. Councillor
Apologies,
McClellan.
I was a little late getting my card out. I'd like to pull R2, please. Thank you.
Sure. I'll just go around once more. Council, any other items to pull? Madam Clerk, I'm not seeing any, so would you mind identifying all items for separate discussion, please?
Certainly, Your Worship. D-1, Dufferin County Multicultural Foundation, reintroduction of the Dufferin County Multicultural Foundation. We have a deputation and a presentation. D-2, AAA performance, re-electric vehicles and EV charging stations. We have a deputation. R-1, litigation status report 2021. There's been a pecuniary interest declared. R-2, proposed planning act changes, the proposed More Homes for Everyone's Act 2022-Bill 109. And lastly, CS1 verbal report of the CAO, re-Collingwood to Alliston pipeline and supply of water update. There's a verbal report. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Adoption of items not requiring separate discussion. So I have a motion be resolved that items on the Committee of the Whole meeting report dated April 4th, 2022, and the Committee of the Whole working meeting report dated April 19th, 2022, including additional information memorandums, with the exception of those items identified for separate discussion, be approved, and the recommendations therein be adopted. And further, that communication items and any other items listed on the council meeting agenda dated April 25th, 2022, with the exception of those items identified for separate discussion, be received and or adopted. I'd ask to move by Councillor Jebb, second by Councillor Harrison McIntyre. Thank you. All those in favor? Any opposed? And that's carried. Thank you, Council. Deputations requiring statutory public meeting. We do not have any. So we're going to move on to our first item, which is D1, and we have a deputation.
Okay, Althea, if you can turn your camera and your mic on, please. Thank you.
Thank you. While we're setting up, Althea, we have a 7-minute deputation time clock that the deputy clerk will start running. So please, whenever you're comfortable, go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you very much and good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to present the Dufferin County Multicultural Foundation. Next slide, please. The multicultural event was started in 2017. It was in the planning phase. In 2018, we held our very first multicultural event in Shelburne with the partnership of the Shelburne Library. We had supporters such as MPP Sylvia Jones, Shelburne Councillor Steve Anderson, and our local elementary school, Shelburne Police and Shelburne Fire, and our community. In 2019, the event doubled in size, and we were able to showcase even more art, poetry, food, and various types of cultural entertainment from not only Shelburne, but Dufferin County. And we had amazing supporters and sponsors to help with this growth. In 2020, we held our first virtual event due to the pandemic. And again, thanks to our supporters, our sponsors, political leaders, and community partners. And we were able to hold this event, this virtual event, and it was very successful and involved not only Dufferin County, but Dufferin County and beyond. Next slide, please. In 2021, this was a significant year. We held another virtual event due to the pandemic. On June 27th, it was proclaimed Multicultural Day for the first time in Dufferin County by Warden White. The Unity and Diversity flag was flown throughout the Dufferin townships, Dufferin County townships, and in Caledon. We thought we would give back in 2021 to the great leaders who work behind the scenes to help the community be stronger together. And we worked in partnership with MP Cal Seaback, MPP Sylvia Jones, Shelburne Deputy Mayor Steve Anderson, Caledon Councillor Joanna Downey, the Museum of Dufferin, and our committee worked together to recognize these local leaders. Next slide, please. Now in 2022, we are hosting our 5th multicultural event. Our foundation is promoting diversity, inclusion, equity, and equality. And our event is going to be on June 11th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Museum of Dufferin. We had a local call for, or I shouldn't say local, it was a call for artists, and it spanned all of Ontario. And we had it closed on the 23rd, but we had some really, really great art pieces from all across Ontario. The event will also feature cultural performances, the art pieces that were submitted, and we will have a local vendor area. We understand that the pandemic has hit local businesses really hard, so we're trying to offer them the opportunity to reconnect with the community and possibly get out there again. Next slide, please. I am here asking for your support for the Dufferin County Multicultural Foundation with a donation of $250. This donation goes directly to our foundation when it comes to workshops that we have and the multicultural event. We're asking the 250 will allow you for your logo to be placed on our website with a clickable link to your website. We will work with your D&I committee, should you have a D&I committee, on local initiatives that you have. So sharing it on our social media page, sharing it on our event page, and if we can offer any insights to your D&I committee if you have one. And again, we will share any town recruitment opportunities or any collective community events that you have on our social media and our website. And if you could be a sponsor of the multicultural event. We are also asking if our event can be listed or shared on your social media and a website, and if you have an event calendar. And with our logo, if you do that on a directory page, if we can share our logo with a clickable link to our website, and if you are able to proclaim June 27th as Multicultural Day, by also raising the flag for the month of June. And we will provide the flag for you. Next slide, please. Thank you very much for your time. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to address.
Thank you for the presentation, Althea. Are there any questions from members of council? Councillor Sainsbury.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. No, I just wanted to receive the debutante and thank her very much and receive the documentation in the deputation.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other comments or questions from members of council? Okay, thank you, Althea, for your presentation very much. So I have a Motion moved by Councillor Sainsbury that the deputation Althea, Alli, Dufferin County Multicultural Foundation be received. Do we have a seconder, please? Councillor Lacey, all those in favor? Any opposed? And that's carried. Thank you very much. Althea, thank you very much for your presentation tonight. It was greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
I believe we're moving on now to item D2, which is Abu-middin AAA performance, reference electrical vehicles and EV charging stations.
Adam, if you can turn your camera and your mic on, please.
Absolutely. I'd like to thank you for that introduction.
Thank you, Adam. Welcome to tonight's council meeting. We're looking forward to your presentation. Please be advised, though, presentations are limited to 7 minutes, please. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So the topic I'd like to bring into discussion today is, of course, about electric vehicles and charging stations for those electric vehicles. However, before I get into it and before I go into this 7 minutes of time that I have, I'd just like to say, please excuse any informalities. This is my first time on a council meeting or viewing a council meeting. So I appreciate being here. I appreciate all of you guys, but yeah, allow me to get into it now. So my name is Adam Abu-middin, and I'm under 25 years old. And the past 2 years, honestly, since I got out of automotive business school in Georgia College, the past 2 years, I've been working to create an automotive business that is overall created to equip us as the people of Canada, in general Canada, but to equip us for the future. And for the future, of course, we all can see it transitioning into electric vehicles and the use of electric vehicles. And so the reason I'm brought onto this council meeting today is because I've been brought into the town of Alliston after my endeavors for the past 2 years on the west coast of Canada, in Vancouver and Kelowna, of course, as well, tapping into the main cities to learn and to gain experience. But I'd like to take everything that I've learned and experienced and bring it into a business that I've recently opened here in the town of Alliston, Ontario. So I do have a new building located at 5949 Highway 89, New Tecumseth, Ontario. And this building is it's set up to offer services to the town of Alliston, and specifically transportation and automotive services, such as shuttle services and interior works and all that. I don't want to get into the details due to the limited time, but something that my business and my movement is working towards, and I speak on behalf of all the supporters and sponsors as well, is we're working towards installing electric charging stations for public use, free public use for drivers of Canadian manufactured electrical vehicles. So the reason I come to you guys today is because I'd like to request the Township of New Tecumseth's support in installing and providing these facilities or utilities for, as I mentioned, the drivers of the electrical vehicles. And so, yeah, that's what I'd like to share overall. That was my intention for coming on today.
Well, thank you, Adam. And you're right. We're certainly transitioning towards the electrical vehicles. I mean, in 10, 15 years, I think that's probably all you'll see for most applications.
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely. In 10, 15 years, most definitely.
Absolutely. So, Adam, let me open it up to members of council, please, to see if they have any questions. Are there any questions? Councillor Beatty, please, then. Councillor Harrison-McIntyre.
Sorry about that. I unmuted my computer instead of the microphone. Thanks for your presentation, Adam. Question for you. Have you pitched this to any other municipalities? And if so, what kind of success or buy-in have you had?
Hi there, Councillor Beatty. To answer your question, I have not yet pitched this to any other municipalities. And so I can't really provide an answer to the success that I've had on that previously. This is the first time I am presenting this and pitching this to any municipality, actually.
Thank you, Councillor Beatty. You're doing a good job, Adam. So I'll go to Councillor Harrison-McIntyre now, please, Councillor.
Through you. So if I'm understanding this correctly, what you're proposing is to provide the electric charging stations and that we would install it somewhere. Is that correct?
Yes, that is definitely correct. And, as of right now, I do have my focus on the location that I've mentioned earlier, where the building for my business is. But we are not looking to only stay there and stay stationary. Of course, we'd like to expand this so we could have multiple charging stations across the town. And I'd like to kind of do my part in contributing towards that. as I believe the town will need to equip itself anyways, regardless. So, you know, as I do it, I'd love for the town to do it with me, or as the town does it, I'd love to do it with the town.
Okay, but you had mentioned that for Canadian-built electric vehicles,
Yes.
how would you prevent ones that are manufactured elsewhere to plug in?
So the main purpose of having electrical charging stations offered free for Canadian manufactured vehicles is because they actually have different outlets than their competition, I guess we could say, which is Tesla, created in America. And so we don't really have to have, you know, that concern necessarily, at least not right now from my views, because the Tesla's charging stations is actually a completely different installation than the general EV charging stations for the Canadian manufactured vehicles.
Okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you, Councillor Harrison McIntyre. Are there no other questions from, oh, sorry, Councillor Sainsbury, I apologize.
Thank you very much, through to the gentleman. Honda just acquired funding for electric cars.
Yes,
Will
definitely.
there be funding for what you're trying to achieve? Are you just asking for locations on land, municipally owned land, and not asking for money or any kind of funding toward this equipment?
Well, actually, what I'm asking for, what I'm requesting for, and thank you for such a great question. I really appreciate that. What I'm asking for is actually funding in installing these electric charging stations. And through the locations, I'll be honest with you, I don't fully have set locations or where the town would like to install these charging stations besides my own building that I'm operating out of, which is why in my deputation request form, I had included that I would like to involve the town on sponsoring the installation as well as regulating the, I guess, the operations of a charging station, because I've yet to fully educate myself on, where it needs to go, land, or if there's any restrictions. So that's why I would like to kind of get closer into collaboration with the township of New Tecumseh.
Councillor Sainsbury, supplementary, please.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yes. Have you spoken with the federal government or whoever's in charge of promoting electric cars and to preserving the environment and trying to reduce carbon and that sort of thing? Is there funding? Because you're a private enterprise, I assume.
Yes. So great question again. Currently transitioning into a public enterprise, incorporating our business AAA performance. And I have not yet reached the federal government. However, I am composing a message to them in this regard, to the electric charging stations, specifically for the town of New Tecumseh, for where we start right now.
One more, Councillor Sainsbury.
Same thing. So
One more.
supplementary to the supplementary. Have you approached Honda? Since they have just fallen into this great $1.3 billion, I wondered if they would be able to help you as a private enterprise trying to get started as a young person in a small town and to promote this thing that is good. But one municipality, I think out of all of them, can't probably be involved at this level. But I'm just thinking there may be other doors that may be open if you start higher up.
Most definitely. Okay. So I have not yet reached Honda. And I'll be honest with you, I appreciate that question because it's not something that I had necessarily considered doing just yet. So I'm definitely trying to go down the avenue of like just working with, very formal organizations such as the government or the municipalities or, provincial, federal, on all levels. That's kind of my first push, is to go out to, just our I guess I could say dependable system instead of.
You're working your way through the process there, Adam. That's, you're right. You got to start somewhere. So thank you, Councillor Sainsbury. Councillor Harrison McIntyre, I believe you had one more question, please.
It was more comment. This had come up at our environmental working group task force and anyways, our environmental committee, and we were talking about it because the county is supposed to be putting in some charging stations in New Tecumseh, and we were wondering when they were going to be happening. So perhaps, the deputy mayor could bring this forward to the county, and maybe the county will work with you.
Thank you, Councillor McIntyre. I'll certainly, we're actually at the county tomorrow, and that's great advice. So we'll certainly pass it on, Adam, to the upper tier there, Simcoe County. And the councillor's right, they do have some responsibility to start implementing charging stations throughout Simcoe County. So I can always stay in touch with you that way too, if you like, and pass on contacts. Is Councillor Noy? You're fine? Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Is there any other comments or questions from members of council? Oh, Councillor Jep.
I was going to say, thank you, Deputy Mayor. I was going to say the very same thing as Councillor Harrison McIntyre, that maybe the deputy could reach out to the county, to the fleet department, and get in touch and how we can start working with them. But if you're going to do it, that's great too.
No, absolutely. I'll and what I'll do is I'll forward the correspondence from the county to all members of council so that you're up to date too. So I'll make sure I include that correspondence. Adam, you did a great job on the presentation. Thank you. So I have a motion here, be resolved that the deputation of Adam Abu-middin AAA performance be received. Can I ask that Councillor Beatty, would you move that? And Councillor Noy, will you second it? Thank you. All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you very much. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you all so much. I very much appreciate it.
Have a good night.
As well.
Okay, we're moving on to item R1 now. That was pulled because we have a conflict of pecuniary interest of Councillor McCollum. So I have it be it resolved, and Councillor McCollum's taken herself out. So I have a motion that be resolved that report number CAO-2022-04 be received. And I'd ask to be moved by Councillor Lacey, second by Councillor Harrison McIntyre. Is that okay? Thank you. All those in favor, please. Any opposed? That's carried. Thank you very much. Councillor, you're back in. We have item next, R-2, reports for information or immediate considerations proposed Planning Act changes. Councillor McClellan, I believe you pulled that item for further discussion, please.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I share staff's concerns that they list in the report about the new changes, but I'd also like to request that Simcoe County provide more specific program details with regards to social and affordable housing. I don't think the entirety of the problem is that we don't have enough houses. I think the other half of the problem is that people can't afford the houses that we do have. So I would like to get some more specific program details from the county about their social and affordable housing, and possibly attach that to an agenda as an information report, please.
No, I think that's a great idea, Councillor McClellan. You know what, the more information we can get, the more we can stress to the county, because there are different struggles between, you know, municipalities in the south and the north, and we're certainly feeling the pressure down here. So I would look to the clerk. Sorry, Councillor Sainsbury, one moment, please. Can I just give you a moment, Madam Clerk, to draft something that could accommodate Councillor McClellan's request for consideration? And Councillor Sainsbury, please.
Yes, we will get a further report, Deputy Mayor, from our Director of Planning, Bruce Hoppy. And I guess my concern is that if we have to meet all these deadlines in order to have any money paid to us, whether it be X days or 50% or 75%, if we're going to meet all of those deadlines on any applications that we have, I think we must be prepared for perhaps more staff. I hope that will be part of the report that we get from our director. But meeting those deadlines in order to have any money in the coffers is going to be a real concern. It's more development oriented as opposed to taxpayer oriented. That's another concern that I have.
No, thank you, Councillor Sainsbury. And I believe I read somewhere that in order to meet these timeframes, that your serious consideration will have to be to increase in the complement of staff in order to meet the province's rules and regulations that are coming forward. So that'll be duly noted. And the cost, absolutely. And I would just look to the clerk. Were you able to craft something, Madam Clerk? I know that's a very short time period.
Certainly, Your Worship. And further that a further report be brought forward to a future council meeting to provide information on Simcoe County housing and affordable housing program details.
Councillor McClellan, does that, yes, that satisfies? Okay, so we'll add that to the motion I have here. So I'll just read that out then. Be it resolved that report number ID-2022-01 be received. And further, the copy of this report representing the town's comments be forwarded to the province's ERO posting number 019-5284 And further, that staff be directed to provide a fulsome analysis, including review of the impacts of Bill 109 to service levels in both the development, planning, and engineering work units. Report back to council with regards to options. And Madam Clerk, could you just read yours one more time so that we're clear? Thank you.
And that a further report be brought forward to a future council meeting regarding program details of Simcoe County housing and affordable housing.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'd ask Councillor McClellan, you'll move that, seconded by Councillor Lacey, if that's okay. Thank you. All those in favor, please. Is there any opposed? And that's carried. Thank you very much, Council. Okay, I think we're moving through to the bylaws now, Madam Clerk. And I have a motion. Sorry.
Sorry, Your Worship. Before you go, Mayor, I believe we have a closed session.
I have that here. I just had the bylaws before it. So if you would like me to go to the closed session, I will certainly do that.
Just a minute here. We're starting a new process, so
I'm following the one that's outlined.
I might be getting ahead of myself. So the bylaws are before the closed session. So if we can do the bylaws first, Your Worship.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Clerk. So I have a motion here now. I ask that it be moved by Councillor Harrison McIntyre and seconded by Councillor Jab. Be resolved that the following bylaws be read a first, second, and third times and enacted. And I'll just read the bylaw numbers, please, Madam Clerk. 2022-041, 2022-042, 2022-043, 2022-044, 2022-045. All those in favor, please. Are there any opposed? And that is carried. Thank you very much, Council. And then I'm going to ask now that it be moved by Councillor Sainsbury and seconded by Councillor Beatty, if that's okay. Okay. Councillor Noy, did you want to speak, please?
Yes, I have an announcement. That's okay before we went to closed session.
Absolutely. So you know what? I have that. Why don't we do your announcement now?
Okay.
And you know what? I'll remove that motion from the floor. We'll come back to it, Madam Clerk. So go ahead, Councillor Noy, if you have an announcement, please.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'm scheduling this Saturday, April 30th, the Boyne River cleanup once again. Start time will be 8 o'clock. So anybody interested, please show up and we'll clean up the Boyne River area. However, there's an area that's under construction, so we cannot go in there, but there's lots of area up around the hospital, the ballpark, whatever the case may be. So if you're interested, please show up at 8 o'clock. I will supply the coffee and donuts for everybody. So hope to see you there. Thank you.
Councillor Noy, where would you like everybody to meet you?
We'll meet at the band shell in the parking lot there.
Over by Riverdale Park?
Yes.
Coming off of Fletcher? Okay, 8 o'clock next Saturday.
This Saturday.
Sorry, this coming Saturday?
Yes.
We'll see everybody there.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Councillor Noy. Councillor Jebb, you have an announcement, please?
Yes, Your Worship, I have 3.
Oh, perfect.
I know. May 29th, the Techwigwil Women's Institute, along with the Gibson Center, is hosting a high tea celebrating the Platinum Jubilee of the Queen, the 125th anniversary of Women's Institute, and the 75th anniversary of Techwigwil WI. So we're providing tickets. It's $50 for a ticket and a table of 6 or 8, whatever, and hope to see a lot of people there. The second thing is Taste of the Town, June the 23rd at the Gibson Center, $125 a person, and it's a 7-course tasting menu, wine tasting, and a beady cocktail. Again, if you want tickets, you can contact Gibson Center on that. And the third one, Your Worship, is a kite festival, June the 23rd at the Angela Toss, beside the Angela Toss Town Hall. And it's between noon and 7. It's in the soccer fields adjacent to the town hall, and sponsors and vendors are needed. And anybody wishes to attend, it's called the South Simcoe Kite Fest, and they can contact the South Asian Network to find out more information. It sounds like it's going to be fun.
Absolutely. Thanks, Councillor Jebb. Your day sounds a lot more fun than Councillor Noy's. Sorry. Both they're all worthwhile. Trust me, I'll attend for sure. Councillor Harrison McIntyre, please.
Thank you. My sister's place is having a fundraiser for the their 4th annual fundraising. It's going to be a virtual tea on Mother's Day, and the tickets are only $25. And then as well, the Tottenham Bluegrass Festival is going to be running in person this year, and they are looking for 150 volunteers. So I'm bringing a couple. So we need all of you. We need everybody to come on out and help out. So.
Wow, that's that's a lot of. I'm sure it's a great time. It's always a great festival, and it's great that everything's happening again. It's been, as I said earlier, it's been 2 years since we've sat together. It's been, it seems like it was just yesterday, but it's been a long time, and it's really great to see everybody. Councillor Lacey, please go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I just wanted to ask Councillor Harrison McIntyre a quick question. 150. Can you get student hours for that?
Absolutely. Yes.
Good stuff. We love
Yes.
to get our students involved.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
daughter is putting it in the newspaper at the school, but at Banting, I guess it should be advertised there as well.
Good.
Sure.
In addition, sorry, Deputy Mayor.
Go ahead,
In
Councillor.
addition to Bluegrass, I think right after is Community Week, and they're always looking for volunteers as well. So it's great to see all these events coming up, but we need everybody to get out and enjoy themselves and volunteers. And this is a perfect way for the students that have missed out for the last couple of years to get back in there and get those hours that they need.
Well, absolutely, Councillor Lacey. Are there any other announcements that I may have missed? Okay, well, thank you, Councillor. We got some wonderful events coming up. Looking forward to all of them. Hopefully the weather will cooperate. So, Madam Clerk, I'll look to you now. I'm sorry. I can't see you, CAO. I apologize, please. You know what, and I knew to go to you. I apologize, Mr. CAO. Sorry.
No problem at all, Deputy Mayor. Thank you. Just a brief note to council to advise you that similar to many other organizations and areas, unfortunately, as we continue to manage through the what I hope to be the last waves of the pandemic, we are witnessing and experiencing a number of resourcing issues throughout our organization. So I would ask members of council in our community to bear with us. We ask for your patience and your understanding, but we are significantly impacted by the current wave of the pandemic. We are moving our resources around literally daily to ensure things are covered off as best we can, but it is proving to be a bit of a challenge. So what's most important is the health of all our employees, which we are focused on. So, but I will ask for your patience and your understanding as we navigate this last little wave. So thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Sorry, thank you, Mr. CAO, and thank you for informing us, because I believe as we go forward and we get through this pandemic, communication is going to be the key issue. As long as we communicate and everybody knows exactly what's happening on, it'll be a better time for everybody, and it'll be a smoother transition to getting them back. Is there any comments or questions to the CAO? I'm not seeing any. So, Mr. CAO, once again, thank you very much for the update, and we appreciate everything that you and staff are doing. So now I'm going to look to move into the council closed meeting. Bless you. So I have a motion here to be resolved that council convene into closed meeting at
6:44, your worship.
Thank you. So I'll have it moved by Councillor Jebb and seconded by Councillor Sainsbury. We move into closed item to discuss the following items. Item CS1, verbal report of the CAO, reference Collingwood to Alliston pipeline and supply of water update. As per the Municipal Act, section 239(2)(a), the security of the property of the municipality or local board, in section 239(2)(f), advice that is subject to solicitor client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. All those in favor, please. Any opposed? Thank you. And that motion passes, and we will go into closed session, please. Do you need a couple of minutes?